Hello and welcome back to my channel. For this video, I am using the newest Distress Oxide color, Uncharted Mariner. To start with, I have this rectangle panel that I cut out with a stitched rectangle die, and I am taping off the border. And this is just low tack washi tape. I did sort of remove some of the stick on my arm before placing it on the panel, just because I didn't want my panel to accidentally rip. And now I have this stencil, I believe it's from Honeybee. I will have it linked. And to start with, I am inking every other line with my dried marigold Distress Oxide. For these cards, I was just picking colors that I thought would look good with Uncharted Mariner, but maybe not necessarily make a good ink blend. That will come next. I am working on trying to find good colors to blend with Uncharted Mariner currently. And I did wipe my stencil off a little bit, trying to get rid of any excess of that orange color, because orange and blue make brown, and I didn't want that. So here I'm going in fairly lightly with this Uncharted Mariner. Like if you go darker, I mean, it'll definitely be darker if you go heavy-handed. And I didn't really want that here. First card I did with festive berries, and I showed it to one of my crafty friends, and she said it reminded her of a beach towel. And it actually reminded me of a beach towel too, so that's kind of the direction I decided to go. Unfortunately, the stamps that I have that are beach themed don't really go, so I used my Cricut and I cut out some various beach things that I felt like would maybe sit on a beach towel while you're at the beach. So I have these sunglasses, and I am using Distress Oxide in Black Soot to ink up around the edges of the sunglasses. I did ink one part with the dried marigold so that the little heart cutout on one of the lenses would show up a different color. So for the lenses, I used Uncharted Mariner just to keep with the theme, and I'm just gluing those flat down, and then that's my sunglasses. Next up, I have some sunscreen, and I'm just going to color the bottom part, which would be the cap, with the Uncharted Mariner. I'm going to use a little bit of yellow. This is actually squeezed lemonade, and then I kind of sort of went over it with a little bit of dried marigold. It doesn't really look like much. I'm gluing those together, and then I am just inking up with my little stick blender around the edges, just because I did that with the flip-flops here. And then, yeah, my flip-flops. To decorate these, I am using the Little Bundle stamp set, and I'm using the flower for this one. And I'm just going to stamp with both my dried marigold and my Uncharted Mariner all over the main part of the flip-flop. Now, I struggled with this, and I thought immediately to tape it down, and I was like, it's fine, I'll work it out. Then I decided here that I was going to grab some tape so that I could stamp it without having it move around too much on me. I'm trying to leave some space for some blue flowers. These aren't perfect. It's fine. The patterns aren't usually even or the same on both flip-flops. Now that I have the main part of the flip-flops done, I'm going to color these background pieces, which from this all you'll see is the little straps, so I'm mostly concentrating my ink on the straps. And for this I decided to use my dried marigold. And now I'm just going to adhere these pieces together with liquid glue. Again, taking my little stick blender with some of that Black Soot ink, and I'm just going around and inking up the edges a little bit. I didn't really want it to look black around the edges necessarily, but I did need it to pop out from the background, which had a lot of white, and then obviously the same colors that are on the flip-flop. I didn't want it to get lost. And here I'm just gluing my flip-flops together, kind of one over the other, and then I'm going to do the same with my glasses and my sunscreen. And now I'm going to figure out the placement for my sentiment. For the main part of my sentiment, I am using the Henry's ABC dies from Lawn Fawn, and I have cut out the letters for the word relax. I'm going to ink these up with my Uncharted Mariner, and I do try to keep it darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. And again, with my little stick blender and my black soot, and I'm going to go around all the letters around the edges and even try to go inside of like where the cutout is for the R, the E, and the A and ink that up as well. This just makes it look slightly more distressed, I guess, and it kind of works with like the old faded beach towel look, but it also helps pop up the letters a little bit visually off the panel. Now these are going to get adhered with liquid glue. I'm not trying to pop those up, that would be ridiculous. I don't have foam tape that thin. Now I have the bottom part of my sentiment, which comes from this Simon Says stamp set, Tiny Words Faith. And I put, you are never alone. So it'll be relax, you are never alone. Now I did pair, for my other cards, I did pair other sentiments with each one, so they were all slightly different. Now I'm just going to adhere my little cutout elements with foam tape. And I did leave this in where I'm showing you removing the backing paper from the Big Mama foam tape because it makes it so much easier with the pokey tool. Like, just trust me, if you don't have one, you need one. Now here, I'm using my glaze pen just to add a little bit of detail to the sunglasses. I don't know that it was super necessary, but I did it anyway. Now I have this tan panel that's slightly bigger than my other rectangle, and I have my clear embossing ink, and I'm just sort of scrubbing it around the edges of this rectangle just so that I can add the sand embossing powder around the edges. This obviously does not have to be perfect, and for what I wanted, I actually did not want it to be perfect. I wanted it to just look like, sand on a beach, and it wouldn't be, the most even or precise. Now I have my Ranger embossing pen, and I'm going to strategically place dots and little kind of blobs, I guess, here and there on my panel to make it look like sand has gotten on the beach towel. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cover it with the sand embossing powder. Now I didn't use my anti-static powder tool for this because if a little bit of extra got on here, it really wasn't a big deal. Like, it would just add to the effect. So now I'm going to heat set that. Just, make sure it's smooth and melted. Nothing special. And then here I'm adding my front panel to the back panel with liquid glue. I don't recommend this. I really don't. Use score tape, use foam tape, use something else. Because I had to kind of baby this to get it to stick down all the way. After that, my card is complete, and here are the remaining 3 cards that I did not show you how I made. These were the first ones that I had made. I have Festive Berries with Uncharted Mariner. I have Squeezed Lemonade. I have Shabby Shutters, and then of course the Dried Marigold. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I will be back with another video soon. Bye!